So my name's Julie Cowseth. I'm writer, director, creator of Starting From Now. It's a lesbian web series that's set in Sydney. To date we've done 3 seasons, 6 episodes per season, and we're in pre-production on the 4th season. Originally I wanted to make a web series because I had previously worked on another web series, and what I liked about that was that you have a direct interaction with your audience, and once you've created the content, you put it online. There's no one acting as a go-between saying you can't get into this festival, no one deciding who can see your content.
Just talking about taking a trip around the world. That's good. She's never left Australia. She's barely even left Sydney.
Maybe she'll make up for it now.
My name is Tonetta Stanford, and I've been making film since I was 18. The web series that I'm working on is called Love Bites, and it's about 3 housemates and their dating adventures. You've got Michael, who's gay, Stacey, who's straight, and Jade, who's lesbian, and so it's kind of about their disastrous love lives.
Hey, can you guys lend me some bling?
No.
Come on, you know how important tonight is.
You always lose everything.
Stace, I'll get you Delta's autograph.
Really?
Yeah,
No thanks.
unbelievable. You guys are so selfish.
Point of View was born out of sort of a knee-jerk comment reaction about torture porn and about how films like Saw and Hostel had degraded the genre into this catchphrase of torture porn, and that's what horror was now, and that was the only good thing about horror. That was one of the concepts. I'm like, well, I'll make you a torture porn film. One of the main key inspirations from how I actually did Point of View, though, was from observing how much people have taken to first-person shooter games, that there would be hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world right now that are like, boom, headshot, but not really quite understanding what they're doing in the bloody, gory realisticness of actually killing someone.
Craig Walker. I've been acting since about 1967, I think. And what I do everything. If you talk about acting, I do everything. Whatever pays the rent. Because I'm a working actor. I'm actually one of those few lucky ones. I'm actually a working actor.
Yes.
Hi. I was just calling around to let you know that the water is going to be turned off tomorrow morning between 8 and 9. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'd always wanted to be a writer. Since I was little, I always wanted to be a writer. I kind of lost my way. When your mother tells you that writing's not a job and you need a career to fall back on, and then the career you fall back on becomes your job.
Every time I make a film, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing, because every time you go onto a film set, it's a completely new set of circumstances. You're working with different people, and every time I'm working on a different genre, or I'm working on a different medium, different camera. So yeah, every time it's scary, but that's what makes it exciting, is that it's always unfamiliar.
I'd always loved movies, but I never really realised that I could just make them. So I started off working in theatre, and from theatre I started using a lot more audiovisual displays in my actual theatre, and so I was actually going out and filming, walking through the forests and stuff like that, so I could actually have moving backgrounds. Went into special effects makeup artistry, and so I studied that for a year. And whilst I was doing that, I got a lot of job experience, work experience on that. And I did like 24 Tropfest films in a year.
I love getting out there and doing it. That's the thing. If you're an actor, you're an actor. You're there to perform. You're there to make the work happen.
It's a struggle every day to make films, to be creative, but then to also sort of have to fight for your creativity and your art, to even come up with an idea in the first place.
Yeah, some people might watch it and think no one would be that ridiculous, but real life is often more stranger than fiction.
You never judge a script necessarily by the way it's written. You just speak to the director, and if you're lucky enough to get the call, and you can go, oh, okay, yeah, they really want to do this. It's not like, yeah, that's a script and it's a thing, and they're going to go down the street, and then they're going to jump on the woman who's walking down the street, and they're going to knife her to death, and then the police are going to come and arrest him. It's like, that's not a script. What the hell? What are you? No, go away.
I think what matters most is the story, the character development, the narrative. That's why people watch it, and anything else I think is a bonus.
But the person who says, here's the thing, this is what's behind it, this is where the guy's coming from in his mindset, so we want to play it a bit like this, and so on, you go, oh, okay, you're thinking about that, and you're actually wanting to do that. Might be exactly the same script with the same spelling errors and the same so on, but the two people are very, very different. So you can really kind of tell.
I'm making movies so people can watch them, not so I can watch.
I have a team of people that I kind of rely on for different aspects, and they have different strengths. So I kind of rely on, one person who's really great with scripts, and another person who's just generally supportive when I'm going through emotional film stuff. I can talk to him about it, and then I've got my producers to help me make all the decisions. So yeah, it's definitely a team effort.
Networking is probably one of the biggest skills you can have as a filmmaker, especially as an independent filmmaker.
It's investment in their career, and they must invest in their career, and to do that they have to support younger, and I mean younger not necessarily in age, but younger in experience, filmmakers. They have to do that. Starting out as a filmmaker, it is challenging finding crew members, but what I've realised is that the passion that you have as a filmmaker, there are people out there that are passionate about cinematography, there's people out there passionate about sound and first ADing, producing, going to film school, which was, for me, by far the best way to create a team. I got to meet a lot of really talented people, and I've continued working with that same group of people after film school. So every time I have a film coming up, I will call the same people up, and so film school, that's one of the most valuable things. Some people say there's, you've got to trample over people, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. I don't care. If it happens, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But it's not going to be for lack of the fact that I'm not going to be out there doing stuff. I'm going to be out there doing stuff regardless. And if people see what I do and like what I do, awesome. If they don't, they don't. That's okay too. I'm still doing it, and I'm still getting paid for it.
I suggest that you and I retreat to the safety of my hotel room. There, I will give you all the details of the mission. Give you even all of the deeper details of the wonderful service that you are just about to perform for the...
Yeah, the number one priority on set is the actors, is making sure they feel looked after and to get the best performance out of them as possible.
If you're acting, you're primarily in one of the best and worst professions in the world. Auditioning, especially when you're starting out, is, a scary thing because you feel like you don't have a clue what you're doing. But it's 100 times worse for actors. They're out there putting themselves out in the line and being vulnerable. So just try and keep that in mind.
Most people that think they're actors act too much. And what I cast is people.
Could you just state your name, your age, and maybe just tell me a little bit about yourself, and maybe a little bit about some acting experience you might have had prior?
Sure.
You are putting yourself out there to be judged by individuals who will see what you do every single time. You're putting yourself out there to be knocked back because the directors or casting directors who are looking at the roles, it was not just wasn't your best day, and you could do better than that, and you know that, but you didn't quite nail it then.
Try and make them feel as comfortable as possible, to make it feel like it's not a job interview, just a collaboration, as much as you can make it feel like, okay, we're just going to explore some things, and to try and not make them feel judged.
So just normal accent, any emotion or just
Just normal accent. After that, we'll try some.
I guess clueless though would be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright. I'm Ming Bao. People seem to like me because I'm polite and rarely late. I like ice cream and I really enjoy a nice pair of slacks. Years later, a doctor will tell me I have an IQ of 48 and am what some people call me mentally retarded.
I like ice cream, I enjoy a nice pair of slacks. Years later, a doctor will tell me I have an IQ of 48 and what some people call me mentally retarded.
That's absolutely great.
I've auditioned actors every different possible way you could think. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a big room and you're doing screen tests. It doesn't matter if you meet them on steps at a train station.
Afterwards, contact them and tell them yes or no. That's such a thing. Oh, I didn't hear anything back. Oh, you didn't get it. Well, I gathered that it was 6 months ago. I just didn't know if it went into turnaround. Yeah.
What we'll do is that we'll review the footage with the producer and the head writer, and then we'll get in touch with you and see where we can go from there. Sounds good, mate. Cool.
Probably one of the biggest hurdles that we came across is what everything boils down to, and I guess it's the lack of time and the lack of money.
Because it's like, I want to make this thing, but I can't because I haven't got money. Where do you get money from? And that's where it all kind of falls apart.
Crowdfunding worked really well because we were able to do that way before the project started. But we cast all the girls and we did promo shoots and interviews with the girls, whilst we then went into pre-production. And the crowdfunding both drew attention and got us the funds, but also got other people interested in the project.
Hey girls, I just thought I'd check in and see how you're doing.
Dad, you can't just go barging in like that.
What?
Get out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm a grown woman now and it's a matter of privacy.
Yeah, we're all grown women now, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, all right, I'm gone.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson. Dude, your dad is such a perv. I think he's nice.
I'd totally f*** your dad.
Do your research before you jump into crowdfunding. I found it extremely demoralising. So I'm a filmmaker who, you know, I'm constantly getting rejected from film festival, but nothing in my life was as demoralising as crowdfunding. Even though I did have a successful crowdfunding project with Love Bites, it was successful in the end, it was so difficult. And it really does make you feel like you're a professional beggar. I'm not saying don't do it, but just be prepared that it's not just easy money.
I can't do this. I'm not a doctor. I'm a sandwich artist.
A sandwich artist?
A sandwich artist.
Not again.
I've seen I've seen a couple of people funding their own productions. Once you get into the grind of working, normal life and bills tends to take over a lot. A couple of people have managed to compartmentalise that, and so they've put that stuff on paying all the bills and stuff, but I'm putting this aside for what I want to make. But the bulk of them, once they get into that work thing, I'm going to fund this project, don't. And they just can't. It's that life takes over.
What we were fighting against was trying to deliver quality content, which is possible these days with technology the way it is, but also trying to, not having the money to have long shoot days, having to schedule around people's availability because we weren't paying them.
What motivated me to keep going was I just really enjoyed the whole creative process and seeing the end product and sitting there with an audience and watching the film and getting a reaction of some sort. And you just think to yourself, oh, I just came up with this idea in a cafe one day and now I've come all the way through this journey and now it's up on screen.
There was no road to fame. And that's why I think I really enjoy it a lot. I don't have the goal of being famous. That wasn't driven into me, I have to be famous. I don't have to be famous. I just have to like what I do.
I guess I wanted to become a filmmaker to tell stories that I felt weren't out there.
In the old days, someone could just get a knife, some fake blood, a shitty camera, and as long as it's scary and as long as it's good, it doesn't matter. You can make a big $1 million horror film, and if it's not got a good story, and if it's not scary, that's just $1 million wasted. So I wanted to show people that, you know, I could make a scary movie for $1,000. And it's not what camera I was using, it's not what lights I was using or how big a budget we were using. It was the story and the heart behind it.
The thing that motivates me is that I think to myself, yeah, I get a lot of rejections, but you get used to it, and then you don't take it so personally after a while, and you just think, if I keep going and I keep trying to improve, eventually things are going to work out for me. So it's about removing the ego to a degree and not letting every rejection define you as you're shit or you're crap, you're not talented, because it's a creative process. Films, whether people like them or not, it's subjective, but the most important thing is that you learn from your mistakes and you don't give up. As soon as you start taking things really personally, you do give up, and then you've lost your dream.
We've had 10 million views in a year, so in terms of that, I guess that's successful. But what's meant more to me, and what I feel is more successful, is that we get comments from people all over the world saying, having this sort of content means a lot to me. We got a comment recently from someone, small town USA, saying having content available like this free online saves my life. So, you know.
Would I stop? Probably when I'm dead, I think. And even then, probably not.
Cool. Great. That's everything.
Oh, okay, mate. Okay, fine. Cool. No problem.